Chatting here with Key High coach Chad Winters. Key High fell for the first time in the season last week, losing 49-12 to Bosco. And when we talked last week, Coach, you acknowledged the test that it was going to be to face the Dons, and they came out and got the job done on Friday night. How'd they get it done?
They're just so explosive. Their overall team speed gave us fits, and you could see that on tape. It's given every team's fits that they've played against this year. Um, Very well coached, disciplined, tough, physical football at every level on both sides of the ball, and it's just play after play after play. And if you make a mistake or take a wrong angle, they make you pay, and they did that a couple times. We put ourselves in some bad positions, turned the ball over too many times, had too many drops, put ourselves in some first and long situations from penalties that killed drives. It's kind of back and forth there right at the beginning, and we had a ball tip that got picked and traded scores, and then they got another score, and then we went down and ended up stepping out on the 11 on a play where guy stepped out of bounds probably by an inch, and then we found ourselves in a first and 20 situation after a couple penalties, or first and 25 situation, and from the 26 after a couple penalties, and then we just couldn't keep up with them after that.
And looking at the stat sheet from the game, most games when you're -4 in the give take, it's probably not going to go your way. How much of that was stuff that you can control? How much of that was Bosco making plays?
A little of both. Couple, like I said, a couple of the balls, one was tipped and one went through our hands off a helmet. And then three were more or less 50-50 balls where they kind of outcompeted us for the ball and went up and got it. Didn't do a very good job of getting heads around on routes right away. They brought pressure, and when they're bringing pressure like that, the ball's got to come out quick. And if the guys aren't looking for it, we got issues, and we had some issues there until we started getting it fixed. So that was been a huge point of emphasis this week in practice. Making sure that soon as we're getting in our breaks, setting up our cuts, heads around looking for that ball, because if there is a guy coming, they bring in more pressure than we can handle. They did give us some different zone looks too. So I mean, it wasn't just all pressure. It was multiple types of looks that they gave us. So just things that we continue to work on in our areas. But you're 100% correct. You can't do that against a good team.
And when you look at the things that you can control from last Friday night moving forward, as you try to develop and get better from it, what tops that list of the lessons that you need to take moving forward?
It's just kind of been doing the little things right. Um, you're attacking at an angle on the edge and you come underneath the block. Yeah, you made the play the last few weeks. You're not going to make it this week. And that was a point of emphasis. And a couple of the first times they did it, what did we do? We come underneath blocks. We didn't attack at the angle that we needed to and stay gap sound, and they make you pay for it. I thought I thought we did a real good job against Knack. That kid is tough. Going to UNI to wrestle, going to fit in well there. The Christensen kid is very dynamic in the open field. He's the one that kind of tore us up with some big plays where angles on the edge weren't where they needed to be. Had a couple chances to get him on the ground and we didn't. That's where the whole team pursuit comes into play. And if one guy doesn't pursue like he needs to, that typically where that cutback ends up happening. If the guy's got good vision, and then it puts us on skates, and now we're in chase mode.
You've reached the halfway point of the regular season. In what area has your team grown the most since the start of the season? In what area would you like to see the most growth here in the second half of the season?
Second half, the most growth that I want to see is just more consistency from everybody. Um, we're getting great effort from the kids. Never going to knock their effort. Their effort's been there. Um, we see it on certain plays, 100% correct technique from 8 guys, but we need 8 guys doing it 100% of the time. And as some of those younger guys come along, the hope is that continues to get better through practice and repetition and game experience. I thought we've done a real good job pass blocking. Probably didn't handle the pressure the best on Friday night, but the collection of athletes that they rush the quarterback with is something that one or two teams in 8-man can bring on a nightly basis. So you just, I mean, you just don't see that type of level of athlete across the board. And they got it in spades and they made us pay for it. I mean, we struggled up front with moving feet, standing in front of guys and giving Dalton enough time to throw.
And when it comes to that end of things, you mentioned the athleticism of Don Bosco. I'm assuming that's something you just can't simulate in practice. Would that be fair to say?
100%. That, and as a coaching staff, that was one of our big worries. You try to replicate it the best you can, but when you're running jet motion in practice with JV kids, and all of a sudden, the first time you're running jet motion with two all-state kids blocking and an all-state kid running the ball, I mean, it's just, you just can't replicate it. And just getting used to that speed of the game, that was a big worry. We competed hard. I thought we were pretty physical on the defensive side of the ball. Not consistently like we need to with all 8 guys, but it's coming. It continues to improve, and that's what we want to see.
And this week, another key district matchup as you go over to Riceville. Both you guys are at 3-1 heading into this week. What are you expecting out of the Wildcats?
You're going to get physical football from Riceville. They're big, they're strong. They do what they do. They're good at it. Probably the most frustrating game we had last year in the regular season was with them. We didn't value the ball last year against them, and it put us in some bad spots. Ended up with, I don't know, I think we put the ball on the ground 6-7 times and lost a handful of them, had a pick or two. You just can't do that against good teams. And the guys understand what's at stake, because, I mean, all of a sudden playoff positioning, potential home playoff game, I mean, all that stuff is factored in, and they understand that we came off a big game and we got to go right back into another big game, and there can't be any let up on the focus and practice, and we have to be keyed and ready to go.
All right, Coach, hopefully you can get back on the winning track this week. Keep your guys healthy. We wish you best of luck.
Thanks, Darren. I appreciate it.
Key High coach Chad Winters. It's Key High at Riceville Friday night.